right?
Annex A.8 Technological Controls.
If you're an engineer, this is the bit you actually care about. Be honest, you skimmed past the policy stuff. You rolled your eyes at the people controls, and you scrolled down here going, finally, firewalls, crypto, logging, actual security. And look, I get it. This is the biggest technical theme in the standard. 34 controls, A8.1, all the way through to A8.434. Second biggest theme overall. And by a mile, the one that feels like security to anyone who's ever pushed code at 2 in the morning. Here's the thing though. And this is the bit that's going to annoy some of you. A8 is not ISO 27001. A8 is the tooling. And tooling without the other three themes is just money you spend looking busy. Stay with me, because I'm going to walk the shape of this thing, cluster by cluster, and then I'm going to tell you why the theme you love the most is the one that fails audits the hardest. So, 34 controls. Nobody is going to sit here and define all 34 one by one. That's not a video. That's a hostage situation. Each of these gets its own dedicated walkthrough later. What I want to give you today is the map. Clusters, the shape. Cluster 1, access and authentication. 8.1, user endpoint devices. A8.2, privileged access rights. A8.3, information access restriction. A8.4, access to source code. A8.5, secure authentication. That's your who gets in and how. Laptops, admin rights, who can look at what, who can touch the repo, and whether your login is genuinely secure, or whether it's single sign-on for the 4 apps you remembered and a shared password in a pinned message for the other 11. Sound familiar? Of course it does. Cluster 2, operations and resilience.
8.6 Capacity Management. A8.7 Protection against malware. A8.8 Management of technical vulnerabilities. A8.9 Configuration Management, and that one's new.
8.14 Redundancy of information processing facilities. This is keeping the lights on without getting owned. Patching backups. Enough headroom that a traffic spike doesn't take you down. Configuration management being new in the 2022 revision is telling, by the way, because the modern breach isn't some genius with a 0 day. It's a storage bucket somebody set to public in 2023 and nobody has looked at since. Cluster 3, data protection. A8.10, information deletion. New, A8.11, data masking. New, A8.12, data leakage prevention. New and A8.24, use of cryptography. 3 brand new controls in one cluster. That is not an accident. That's privacy law walking into the room and sitting down. Can you actually delete a customer's data? All of it? Including the analytics warehouse, the copy in the support tool, and the copy in that spreadsheet Dave made for a board meeting in March. Honest answer for most small SaaS companies is, we can delete the row in the main database and then we make a face and hope nobody asks a second question. Cluster 4, logging and monitoring. 8.16, monitoring activities, which is new. A8.17, clock synchronization. A8.18, use of privileged utility programs. 8.19, installation of software on operational systems. Logging is having the evidence. Monitoring is somebody actually looking at it. Loads of teams have 12 months of beautiful logs that no human being has ever opened. That's not detection. That's an archive of your own crime scene. And clock synchronization, I know, deeply unsexy. Until you're trying to reconstruct an incident across 4 systems and every one of them disagrees about what time it happened. Then it's the most important control in the building. Cluster 5, networks. A8.20, network security. A8.21, security of network services. A8.22, segregation of networks. A8.23, web filtering, which is new. Segregation is the one people fudge. Everything can talk to everything because it was quicker. And now one compromised container has line of sight to production. Flat network, flat blast radius. Cluster 6, secure development. And this one's enormous. 8.25, secure development lifecycle. A.8.26, application security requirements. A.8.27, secure system architecture and engineering principles. A.8.28, secure coding, which is new. A.8.29, security testing in development and acceptance. A.8.30, outsourced development. A.8.31, separation of development, test and production environments. A.8.32, change management. A.8.33, test information. And 8.43T4, protection of information systems during audit tests. 10 controls about how you build software. 10. That is the standard telling you very politely that your development process is a security control whether you treat it like one or not. And 8.33 test information. That's the one where somebody copied the production database into staging, so the test data would feel realistic. It felt very realistic, that was the problem. Now, let me count the new ones, because this matters. Configuration management, information deletion, data masking, data leakage prevention, monitoring activities, web filtering, secure coding. 7 new controls in the 2022 revision, and they all landed here. This theme absorbed most of the change in the entire standard cloud data privacy, DevSecOps. The standard caught up with how we actually work now. So yes, A8 is where the action is, and that's exactly why engineers get it wrong. Because here's the trap. You go through Annex A8, you recognize 90% of it, and you think, we've basically got this, the rest is paperwork, policies and training and locked doors, admin overhead. We'll get an intern to write it. Adorable. Look at what A8 actually needs to function. A8.2 privileged access rights is a technical control. Fine, but who decides who gets privileged access? That's a 5. Organizational roles, responsibilities, a decision somebody owns. And how do you know that person is trustworthy and trained and understands what they're agreeing to? That's a 6, people. And what happens to their access the day they leave? That's a 6 again, walking hand in hand with a 5.18. Same story everywhere. Your encryption is beautiful. Where are the keys? Who approved that? And what happens when the one person who understands the key management setup goes on holiday to Cornwall? Governance question. Not a technical one. Your data center has world-class network segregation, and somebody propped the server room door open with a fire extinguisher because it was warm. That's a 7. Physical. Your firewall does not care about the fire extinguisher. Technology decides how. Governance decides who and why. People decide whether it survives contact with a Tuesday. Physical decides where. Take any one of those away and the other 3 go wobbly. That's the whole point of the 4 themes. They're not 4 separate projects. They're 4 legs on the same table. And A8 is just the leg you happen to find interesting. Auditors know this, by the way. Nobody is impressed by your tooling. They're going to ask who authorized it, when it was last checked, and what happened the last time it failed. Every one of those questions is answered outside A8. So here's your dare. 3 things. Do them this week. 1. Restore a backup. Not check that the backup ran. Restore it into somewhere real with a stopwatch running and find out whether you can actually get your company back. An untested backup is a wish with a storage bill attached. 2. Pull your list of privileged accounts. The full list, every admin, every service account, every cloud role with star permissions. Then go through it name by name and say out loud why each one still needs it. I promise you'll find at least one person who left, one contractor from a project that ended, and one account nobody can identify. 3. Scan your source code history for secrets, not the current branch, the history. Because that API key you rotated in a panic is still sitting there in a commit from 18 months ago waving. Do those 3? If all 3 come back clean, genuinely, well done, you're ahead of most teams I've come across. And if they don't come back clean, then congratulations, you've just learned that A8 was never the easy part. Next up, we start pulling these apart properly, one control at a time.